My name is Emily, and I'm gonna do another video for YouTube. And I'm a blogger. I like to write, so I'm actually gonna read from some writings. I have two entries that I write in hub pages. I'm also on Blogspot, so I haven't written in a little while, and I want to get back into it. But I'm going to read two writings that I have that touch upon what it's like to be transgender. And the first one I'm going to read is titled "The Sad Reality of Being Transgender." And my title is "The Inner Struggle I Face." The times we are alone can be helpful, as we all need some time to ourselves to reflect and find what is most important in our life, which for most of us are our family and the times we spend with our children. That is why it is important to spend as much time with your children and plan fun things together, because time is fleeting, and one day you will wish you had the opportunity to be there more often for them. The difficult part of feeling alone is the painful isolation and the struggle with depression. I truly believe as we get older, we are more prone to depression and feelings of loneliness, and that is very difficult to cope with. Facing reality may be one of the toughest things we have to deal with, and when faced with adversity and struggling with emotional and internal pain, only complicates matters. The things that make me happy are the outings with my son, seeing my son smile, the dining out with my wife and family on those special occasions, taking family trips, presenting my true self, wearing pretty clothes, feelings of accomplishment, finding acceptance, making a friend, walking by the seashore, listening to the golden oldies, remembering the fun times of my childhood, feeling love within the family, even if it is dysfunctional, and learning that we all are special in our own way, and despite our differences, we are each unique and should never feel ashamed. It is quite a struggle when, as a small child, you feel different and that something is not right, but you have no one to talk to, and you keep it inside. It really is a very painful experience to go through life struggling constantly with your gender identity and making it seem like everything is fine when deep down you are crying and feeling lost, alone, and very isolated. Many transgender people, sadly, don't really get to realize their true selves with all the obstacles they face. It is a tragedy when someone who is transgender faces rejection, abandonment of family, friends, employers, and as a result, for many, their hopes, dreams, and goals are thwarted due to ignorance and social standards and pressures that the only way to end their pain is to take their life. It is a fact that transgender individuals suffer all throughout their life, and for some, it is just too much to bear, that they decide they can't go on and they lose the will. Why is it so hard for society to understand that sometimes a child born male anatomically is really female in their mind, heart, and soul? To me, it makes perfect sense because that is how I felt all my life. And I lived in secrecy, in pain, and in denial. And it just is a very sad situation. For many transgender, they lived their life with a painful secret and tried to fit the mold they were born into and carry on with their lives, finding love, having a career, raising a family, and being what society says they should be. The issue with this is that not everyone born male feels comfortable as male. On the outside they are, but on the inside they are female and spend their whole life struggling with this until they come to accept themselves and finally transition to finally be set free. I remember when I was just a kid how wonderful I felt putting on a dress and sleeping under the covers the whole night with it on. Only I knew it, and it was something I had to keep my biggest secret. I felt so happy and knew I was a girl in every way inside, and had to face the painful reality that I had to be raised a boy, and I cried and hurt inside. But I tried my best to cope and live a normal life. I must say that I have been blessed with having a family of my own. I have a supportive wife who realizes this is real, and a son who I love and will always try my best to be there for him. And I have felt tremendous guilt springing this on my family because I never wanted to ever hurt anyone. I am comfortable presenting as a female, and I will live this way for the rest of my life because that is who I am. I have touched people as they have touched me with their acceptance. And I also have been shunned by people who just can't accept or understand it. I don't judge others, and I never did. Only God can judge us. And so I live the life I feel is right for me. And that is dressing in pretty clothes, wearing light makeup, taking care of my skin, and finally getting my hair styled in a female style as I am growing it out and hopefully can put the wig aside. I also have a commitment to my family and must forge on despite the recent setbacks I have recently faced after losing my job and losing a sense of myself and winding up in different hospitals on 4 separate occasions within the past year and a half due to my depression and transgender issues I struggled with for my whole life. I have always been a strong person, but it was a quiet strength, and it kept me going, and I must summon that strength because when you are faced with the reality of possibly losing your house and realizing that it is going to be very difficult finding a job being transgender, even as a professional, that I desperately have to focus on my depression, which for me has been chronic and very painful. I was good at hiding it, but since I hit 50, it became harder and harder for me to keep my gender identity secret, and realized it was now or never, and for me I did not want to go to my grave never being true to myself. To me that would be very tragic. I am doing all I have to so I can heal, but it will take time, and I must rely on services that will help protect my family. My son is my most precious gift, and I wish for him to find his way happiness in life, and although he is diagnosed with autism, he can do many wonderful things. I had to hide my whole life and pretend, and I would never want that to happen to my son. Life is to be lived, to be shared, to learn, to achieve, to take responsibility, to feel pain, to feel joy, to work, to have fun, to marry, to raise children, to buy a house, to be true to oneself, and to find your happiness. We come into the world welcomed and loved by family, and hopefully leave this world loved, respected, and accepted by family. Life is to be lived but once, so find who you are and be your very best, Emily. That's one entry that I wrote in my hub pages, which I have a site. I find hub pages is a good venue for me to write, and I've been writing now for a few years. I'm also on Blogspot, and I have a blog called A Father's Love, My Son and Autism. And I write about autism, and that's with respect to my son, and transgender issues, which obviously is in respect to myself personally, as a male to female transgender woman who's transitioning. And right now, I've been transitioning now. This is my second year, and I'm on female hormones. I'm doing electrolysis, taking voice lessons, and I'm going for therapy. And I have a medical doctor testing my blood levels. So I'm doing all the right things that you're supposed to do when you transition. Now this is my second writing. I have many writings, so over time I'll share them with you, and hopefully you'll get some insight into my own personal writings and my feelings on what it's like to be transgender, in my case specifically male to female transgender. Now this writing is called My Need for Transition, male to female transition. As a young child, I was very shy and did not open up to my family or to the people around me. I felt that I was going through something that I could not truly understand, but I felt it was something that defined me. I cannot explain what drew me to this, but I can tell you that it happened naturally, and it was a consistent part of my life. It all started when I was 5 years old, and I had the urge to dress in my younger sister's clothes. I enjoyed wearing the softer and prettier clothing, and I felt it was perfectly okay for me. Deep down I recognized that I had a persistent need to do this, and when I did wear girls' clothes, I was so much more happier. There were times I would wear them to sleep in my bed with only me knowing it. I was good at hiding it and knowing when I could dress. I started to appreciate dress-up time, and when I wore a pretty dress and stood in front of the mirror, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was about 9 years old when I started wearing dresses. I was fortunate enough to be small enough to fit my younger sister's dress size. I remember crying myself to sleep when I was unable to dress, and I felt like something was not right. I always felt inside I was a girl, but I knew I was born different, because on the outside I was a boy. It was a battle I fought all throughout my life, and I am not sure why I had been dealt this dilemma. I cried many times over my situation, but I tried to just accept it and do whatever I could to bring out the girl who resided within me. It was very easy for me to find a way to dress because I knew it was a matter of survival for me. But then again, it was the biggest secret in my life, and what a big secret it has been. To this day, it is the biggest secret I had to keep to myself. I could not even think twice about opening up and telling someone. At times I just wanted to go out and dress as I felt I should, but it was not to be. I did not feel safe or comfortable presenting myself as a girl outside of the house. Yes, I certainly wanted to go out and dress as a girl every day and wear pretty things, but I knew I was not supposed to do this. I have felt all my life I have had this huge burden weighing on me, and sometimes I wonder why it had to be me. Why for most this is not an issue, but for me it is something I face every day, from when I awake in the morning to when I go to sleep at night. Why do I enjoy shopping in the women's department? Why do I love dresses so much? Why am I so very feminine in my perceptions of myself? Why do I still love to look at myself in the mirror with a dress on? And why do I have this overwhelming need to wear dresses and women's clothing? Why did I suppress it so much and deny this part of myself? Why, after all these years, am I still dealing with this, a seemingly innocent act of trying on one item of my sister's clothing that has become a main focus in my life? Why do I feel I am a woman? I wish I had the answers. All I know is that I have feelings that are more common to girls. I feel I am a teenage girl looking forward to blossoming and enjoying becoming a young woman. There are strange words. These are strange words to hear from a middle-aged male who is a husband and a father and has a life with responsibility and great pressure. I am not looking to escape. In fact, I want to keep my family intact and still maintain my responsibility and still provide the love I have in my heart for both my wife and son. I have such tremendous feelings of guilt, and I just don't know what to do. But I know if I don't consider addressing these feelings and staying true to the course of transitioning, I most certainly will die. I cannot keep denying myself this wonderful gift of femininity. I need help and support and encouragement. I went for way too long hiding this and denying it, and now I feel the floodgates have opened, and it is my time. It is what I have always wanted in my life, the opportunity to express the true me. If I can't do this, then I will most certainly give up my hope of ever finding happiness and understanding who I am. I don't blame anyone for these feelings, and in fact I have found that I am a very understanding person. And if I am fortunate enough to transition and still keep my family intact and still have a job to go to with the support and encouragement of my employer and co-workers, and realize what I have known all along, that I am a woman, then my life has real meaning, and that I am truly a survivor. I don't want to wind up a statistic and lose everything. I have worked so hard, and to have this life. I have worked so hard, and to have this life, and know I am not presenting who I truly am as a person is the biggest tragedy in my life. I am trapped in a way that not many could ever understand. I understand because I live it and know it firsthand. I feel that my blossoming into a woman would be my most happiest moment, which would rank up there just like my wedding day and the birth of our son. I am so happy to have my wife and son in my life and still encourage them to stay with me, even if I do eventually transition to becoming a woman. I don't know what the future will hold, but I do know that I will never escape these feelings, and I am now facing the most daunting challenge I could ever imagine. I do also realize that if I take the bold action to transition, that I am only doing what I am supposed to do. The little girl's voice inside of me has been there all along, and she is only telling me what I already know, which is that my life will be more enhanced with the realization that I need to stay true to who I am and that I should never feel ashamed of it. I need help to get me through this, and I only hope I can find the help I need and the support system so I can be that girl I always knew I was. Emily. So, this is my form of therapy. I find when I write, I can reflect and dig deep down into my heart and my emotions and express how I feel about life and what it's like to be male to female transgender. I've struggled for a long time, and I think that as we get older, we really learn to appreciate the importance of being happy, and it's not an easy thing to go through life and to live and be accepted as someone who you really aren't, and you have to kind of fake it. For me, that has been that was a major theme all throughout my life. And I just pretended, basically. And I was miserable. I couldn't deal with being male. I was very, very depressed. And I contemplated suicide many times and even attempted it. I had strong feelings of wanting to transition in my teenage years, and I was very predisposed to wearing girls' clothes as a teenager, and I never felt comfortable as a boy. It wasn't something I was happy about, but I kind of did the best I could to get through those difficult years. Going through puberty was very, very depressing, and I don't know how I made it through, but it was a nightmare for me personally. I just envied all the girls, and when they were blossoming and developing, I was very jealous, and I just was a loner. I was isolated. I couldn't relate to people, and I just felt that, things were not right for me. And it really was a very depressing time, and I just never really thought I could ever find happiness. I'm very fortunate that I have a family, and that I am able to transition, but even now, as I'm transitioning as an older person, there is a lot of guilt, and I still suffer from depression, but I am addressing my gender dysphoria and my gender identity disorder. Um, the transitioning is certainly helping me in dealing with those issues. As far as the depression goes, I'm on medication. I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, so I have a double whammy. I have bipolar disorder, depression, and transgender, gender identity disorder. So it's not easy. It's a struggle, but I take one day at a time. You know, it's very hard now that I'm not working. I have so much time on my hands. I'm definitely going to get back into writing because it helps me to focus, and I can kind of dig deep down and express my true feelings. And I think it's a good way to share, especially with people on YouTube who identify as transgender. They can gain insight. I've been watching a lot of videos myself, and I've gotten a lot of good insight, and am very impressed with a lot of the trans girls on YouTube. I think they're wonderful, and I applaud them for their courage, and just think they're very beautiful women. And I want to achieve that also in my own male to female transition. But I have to take one day at a time, as I said. And a big concern for me also is my son. He's 16 and he's autistic, and he goes away to a school upstate, so we're apart right now, and he's coming home for the holidays, so we're very much looking forward to his return. And Christmas is always a special time, so we're definitely looking forward to that. We haven't put up our Christmas tree yet, but once we do, I'll show you a picture of it. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and hope that, for everybody who is struggling, that things get better for them. And if you're struggling with transgender or depression or both, I'll pray that things will get better for you. Certainly I'm hoping that that's the case with myself personally also. Certainly I have a good therapist and a good doctor, psychiatrist, so I'm very lucky, and I go to them religiously, and I'm taking my medication, and I'm taking my female hormones, and my my testosterone blocker, Spiral. So I'm going to share more of my writings, and I think that can help people, and I'm hoping that my voice will improve over time. Please excuse me for how I speak right now. It's just that I find it difficult to attempt speaking in a female voice. Just in the early stages of my vocal lessons,